3, 2. Now, we already got to hear from the new EB in town. That's Commanders offense coordinator Eric Bickel. So we figured we better check in with the OG EB in town, Sports Junkies Eric Bickel. And to join him, we decided we'd get both of the morning stars of the DC sports scene, Eric Bickel from the Sports Junkies, Kevin Sheehan from the Kevin Sheehan Show, and the Team 980. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. A new league year almost upon us for the Commanders. I like to play a game should and will. EB, how about you start? What should the Commanders' approach be to free agency be this season?
Actually, I think it's the same as what they will do. I think they got to focus on that offensive line, bolster that as much as they can, and give whatever quarterback they have back there, and I think it's going to be Sam Howell, the best chance to succeed.
All right, Mr. Sheehan, what about you? What should the Commanders be doing in free agency?
Well, I agree with EB. They should be trying to bolster their offensive line, but they need a quarterback. It's number one. They should be taking a big swing every offseason. We'll get to the what will they do in a moment, but they should be thinking quarterback number one until they finally get one.
Not riding the Sam Howell hype train, so let's go right to it. What will they do then, particularly at that quarterback position?
Well, I actually think they're going to stick with Howell. I think they've simply just been burned, right? The Wentz things failed catastrophically. We all know that. The Fitz thing didn't work out. Alex Smith didn't work out. Heck, you can even go back to guys like Case Keenum. They didn't work out. I agree with Kevin. We need a big-time quarterback, but we've been burned here recently, and we've got a young kid here waiting in the wings who shows a little modicum of ability. Let's roll with that a little bit, build around him, and see what that brings us.
What about you, Kev? You want him to go after the big fish?
Well, yeah, I do, but that's not what they're going to do. I mean, they're holding, Girl Scout cookie sales to try to generate some cash just to pay who they have. I mean, you know this. They're in a budget crunch period right now. What they will do is they'll stick with Sam Howell. They'll try to sign a veteran like Andy Dalton or Jacoby Brissett for $3.5 to $4 million. I'd love them to think draft. And maybe they will if they really like somebody because it won't cost them anything. But they're gonna stay the course with Howell, add a veteran, and keep it cheap here in the offseason until the team's sold.
Nothing gets the fans riled up like keeping it cheap. I've also heard that Andy Dalton name too. Let's try to look ahead. Let's try to predict the future a little bit. The Commanders, let's say they get to week one, Sam Howell's their quarterback. We do believe that there's a pretty good defense here in Washington, and we'll see what happens with Payne and Sweat and perhaps even Chase Young, his fifth-year options coming up. Offensively, Eric, you add EB. I ask you, EB, what are your expectations for this offense?
Well, my expectations are that we're going to utilize our weapons more. That was the thing that was so frustrating about the offense the last couple of years. You have Terry McLaurin, Dotson really blossomed last year. And then I thought we would see Antonio Gibson utilize his pass catching skills a lot more than what we did. I just want to see more creative offense and use our best weapons. I want a modern offense, right? A 2023 offense. This whole idea of pounding the football 3/4 of the time, that's great if we're up 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. But we need a lot more than that to start these games off.
It was interesting, too. I was in Indianapolis with Ron Rivera last week at the Combine, and he went out of his way to say that the quote about trying to run the ball all the time was taken out of context. I'd point out, you said it, but whatever. The context is important. Kev, what do you think this offense looks like with Eric Bickel?
I have no idea, JP. I hope that we're not wasting another year of Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson and Curtis Samuel and some of the weapons they have with at least a quarterback this year that can make all the throws, we believe. But the key is Sam Howell. We just don't know enough about him. I mean, 19 pass attempts, and a couple of really solid runs in what amounted to be a preseason game to end the regular season is not something, that you can really build off with confidence. I like, a lot of what I saw of him in college. He definitely can make the throws that Heineke can't make. He's as mobile. It's going to be incumbent upon Bieniemy not to only put together an offense that suits him, but to develop him into an NFL quarterback. I mean, we're not gonna get this like breakout star year in his first year of playing. What you hope to get is signs that you've got somebody in Sam Howell for the next few years under a rookie contract that can really approach, kind of that top half of the league quarterbacking level. But I have no idea what to expect from Howell, and I don't think they do either.
The one thing I do expect from Bieniemy, and if you go watch kind of the Chiefs offense, is there was this assumption in the past few years with the Commanders offense that just because a quarterback was under shotgun, that was enough to maybe counteract a poor offensive line. What the Chiefs and Bieniemy did, now it helps to have Patrick Mahomes, clearly, but you can still move the pocket even though the quarterback's in the shotgun. And I think you'll see a lot more of that, a lot more of shifting. I think that might help their tackles a little bit. I'm excited to see that. Last one, Kevin, and we'll start with you. Do you want Taylor Heineke back in a backup role?
I mean, I'd love Taylor Heineke in a backup role. I think right now he probably is at a big, difference, that there's a bit of a chasm between what he and his agent think he's worth and what the team thinks he's worth. So I would bet that he's not back. But he's not a starting quarterback. I hope all of our, fan base recognizes that this guy's a really good backup. He's fearless. He's perfect for that role. He can start a game in a pinch. But if you start 17 with him, you're not going to the playoffs more often than not.
Mr. Bickel.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's be honest, JP. Taylor Heineke is one of the greatest stories in the NFL the last few years. Everybody universally loves the story, loves the kid's moxie and his guts. He also may be the single luckiest quarterback I've ever seen over the last 2 years. So many turnover-worthy balls that have been well documented by the Pro Football Focuses of the world. How many times did he drop back and throw and you just held your nose as that ball floated through the air and Terry McLaurin saved him? I love him, but I don't have any need for him here. I hope he finds a nice, long backup career somewhere else.
We need an MRI for the horseshoe that seems to follow Taylor Heineke around. Wherever it may be lodged, may we all be lucky enough to have one. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. You know where to find him. Kevin Sheehan, The Kevin Sheehan Show from 6 to 9 every morning on Team 980, the Kevin Sheehan Podcast. The OG, EB, Eric Bickel, Sports Junkies, 6 to 10 on 106.7 The Fan and on NBC Sports Washington. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.